¿Te gusta tu vestido?
Dime más.
Tus manos parecen muy suaves.
¡Dime más!
Tu pelo es perfecto para la forma de tu cara.
¡Dime más!
When push comes to shove, that means you're left with just desperation, and that will be no truer tonight than in the Area Truck Series regular season finale. Plenty of pushing, plenty of shoving tonight at Talladega Superspeedway, the cutoff race before the beginning of the playoffs. This is the final opportunity to qualify yourself in. Some drivers are locked in, some drivers are not. And this is your last chance, an 80-lap dash here at Talladega Superspeedway to give yourself a shot at a championship. Hi everyone, Kyle Heyer joined by Connor Horn tonight as we embark on this 12th race of the season. And Connor, it's been an exciting year so far, dramatic one at that. And last night, if that was any indication, tonight's going to be even crazier.
Oh yeah, it's going to get crazier and crazier. The intensity just ramps up when we go to tracks like Talladega, Daytona, and Atlanta. It's going to be absolutely wild. We're going to see a lot of action down the Alabama Gang super stretch as you got a good shot of it there. Might even see some intensity in the turns as well, as we saw the race end in turn 3 last night. We'll see if we can get the checkered flag under green tonight as we look at the points coming in tonight. Had a lot of drivers locked in via their wins, but also a lot of drivers with those wins needing to point in, and also the cut line's volatile. Garrett Grant, Justin Munsell, and Michael Curhan right there.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one to watch. Justin Munsell, Garrett Grant, they are balancing on the edge of that cut line tonight as we get down to the racetrack. The colors, as they were last night, going to be consistent tonight. This is the blue drivers are the ones that are locked in and advancing to the playoffs, I should say. Those in yellow are either below or above the cut line, but within range of elimination. So all those drivers in yellow are in a position to get in either on points or with a win. And there are some drivers in white that could win to get in, but they're down the ways. And we know Talladega is a bit of a crazy one, Connor, so we don't really know how things are going to pan out tonight, but there's a look at your practice times. Those won't matter, and qualifying might not matter all that much either, because as we saw last night, where you start definitely doesn't mean where you finish.
No, definitely not. We're going to see a lot of craziness. Starting at the front's not going to matter as far as wanting to get up to the front for the end of the race, but those guys on the cut line that we talked about, you want to get every bonus point possible, so you're going to want to lead as many laps as you possibly can. Also, if you keep a clean truck, you get an extra point, so that's going to be important as well, but you know how tough that's going to be once we get to the very end of this. So those guys on the cut line, Curhan, Ricky Harden, Danny Ware, all those guys are going to be looking to qualify up the front just so they can get that extra bonus point and maybe have that over their other competitors.
Garrett Grant, one of those drivers that is on the cut line and really needs a good showing tonight to perform. And as we get rolling up onto the racetrack, I want to talk a little bit about last night's race finish. It was a pretty wild one, to say the least. We ended with a green-white checkered and then a subsequent yellow flag. But Connor, there was a lot of, at least in the booth, some controversy over who could have won that race. The way the race ended last night, yellow flag coming to the white flag, that meant that the field was frozen at the time of caution. But when the time of caution is kind of a nebulous unknown value. We don't know if it's done by scoring loops or sometime before the lights come on, but either way, it was the 73 of Jake Nichols that was declared the winner. And the reason I bring that up is because that same thing can happen tonight. So I don't care how this race goes. I want track position at the end of this race. I want to be towards the front. I'd rather be a sitting duck and have that yellow come out than not give myself the opportunity to claim a victory should a caution happen. So I think track position is so important, regardless of how easily you can move forward on a final lap.
Yeah, it's gonna be kind of hard to move up in these trucks on the final lap like we saw people doing in Cup last night, and I think you're exactly right. You need to be at the front, even if you get caught up in a wreck, even if you maybe cause a wreck like Travis Beckner and Brad Slaughter Jr. got into it into turn 3. That's what set off that incident, but you want to be up at the front to be able to make those moves, because there's a very slim chance, maybe not a slim chance, but there's definitely a chance that you could get that lead and pace the line with a destroyed truck and get the win away. It was, like you said, the controversy was pretty volatile and it was pretty wild, and we might see that again, like you said. Everyone's kind of worried about that, especially the drivers who were in that Cup race last night, like James Scioli. He's not at risk points-wise, but you're always scared about that could happen to me. I could get screwed out of a win, like Jacob Bell may or may not have done last night. Speaking of Jacob Bell, he's gone to the top of the board. He's looking for redemption because he was one of those guys at the front after that crash that he might have been the winner. Same thing happened to him at the season opener and Cup at Daytona. He didn't get that one either, but he's on the pole for now.
Yeah, the thing about last night was at Daytona, I could point to an area where the one of Seth Knoll was clearly ahead, but I could not do that last night, and that was hence my confusion. I didn't see a point where the 73 was actually clearly ahead, but that was, again, up to the iRacing scoring. So that's the rule. We use the iRacing scoring. There is no circumstance under which we will not. So when we get down to crunch time here, we're going to roll with however the deck reshuffles on that final lap, so that's something to consider. There's Philip York getting underway. Travis Beckner, one of the drivers, locked in. You see the blue number background, locked into the playoffs. He's got nothing to worry about tonight. Neither does David Weishart, also locked in. He was a driver that led a bunch of laps last night, was up towards the front in contention, and it didn't work out for him this evening. So he'll be going for some redemption as well. Logan Hartman to the top of the board in the 96 truck.
That's a really solid lap right there. Beat Jacob Bell by about 100th of a second, so that's going to put him up the field as well. So really solid lap there. Hartman trying to see where he is in the points. Not a factor. Has not ran enough races and hasn't had the season he's looking for, but a very solid lap trying to get a win here and sneak one out of here.
And here's Alan Elwood in the number 10 truck, and I think given the way that he has run this season, I think I'd be a little bit surprised to see him not locked in to the playoffs as it stands. As I look for my updated point standings just to get a total idea of misclicked. But Alan Elwood, see how he can do in the number 10 Simrap Market truck.
Yeah, he's, like you said, no wins this season, but still third in points. He's second in points if you just group into guys without a win. He's only second in that aspect. The Tom Bourne, who's kind of in the same boat. Maybe a little bit surprising he hasn't been able to lock in, but a little bit of different seasons for Elwood and Tom Bourne. Tom Bourne, he has been really, really consistent, but we can't really point to any races where he's had race-winning speed. Alan Elwood, I think there's a few races he could have easily won. Charlotte comes to mind for me after the chaos we saw there. He could have won that one. But he has not been able to close one out, whether it's his doing or not. Still good on points, but it is a little surprising that he's not locked in, as Eric Wineland is going to come across the line to start his lap. He's another one not locked in. He's 8th overall in points without a win.
Eric Wineland working his way around right now, and JT Poole, last week's winner, jumped on to the top of the board. And there's a handful of trucks still out on track. Cameron Hearn locked in with his victory that he's got. He's 16th in points, though, so it could be undone should he fall out. I just don't know if that's incredibly likely. Actually, I don't even think it's possible, so that's why he's considered locked in now in that number 4. Gary Waterworth making his way around, getting up to speed. So we talked about the finishing and how the chaos of that can come into effect. Let's talk about how these trucks draft. Last night we saw huge closing rates. Are we going to see something similar tonight, Connor, or do you think it'll be a bit more tame in terms of how these trucks race each other?
I don't think you're going to see the runs that big. I think we're going to see, well, with the new damage model, you can kind of slam draft a little bit more, and it's not really encouraging. It's not something I want to see as far as the racing goes, but it's something that's going to be utilized, no doubt about it, the way the new damage model is. You can kind of get away with giving someone a big bump a little bit better than you could with the old damage model that we'll see on Thursday night. So I think we're going to see a lot of drivers packed up. I don't think we're going to see big runs like we saw on Monday night. I think we're going to see a lot more kind of stacked up action, 2 lanes, 3 lanes, absolutely gridlocked. You're not going to see the lanes coming and going, I don't believe, like we saw last night.
Comers and goers, that's another term we want to use. Push and shove, come and go, give and take, all binary terms to decide how things are going to go this evening. Waterworth across the stripe to begin his qualifying lap. See where Therian's at here, 3 and 4, I believe, in the 83 truck. Not in the conversation for playoff contention this season.
Well, he's 19th in points.
So he's going to take a win. Yeah, he could win, but
Yeah, he's not pointing in 40 back of the cut line, or 39 back of the cut line. Looking confused because JT Poole's 12th in points, but not enough races. So then it shifts to Danny Ware, I believe, somewhere around there. But we'll definitely get it sorted out all in due time.
Yeah, there's so many. Every time we come here, it's like you want to have those live points. It's just not quite that simple to show.
Yeah.
But just because how quickly things can change, running first to running 20th, and we know that can happen in a span of a lap or less.
It can happen in 10 seconds, really.
Yeah.
Depending on how the final laps go. So definitely something that it's so hard to get. Like you said, it's just too hard to get live points as Waterworth goes 26th. But yeah, we're definitely going to have a general idea, but nothing official from us for sure. So it's going to be a little bit of a cluster at times, but we'll get there at some point.
Bronson Stafford working his way around in the number 61 truck. As far as Bronson's season has gone, 29th in the points. 11 starts, no top 10s, no top 5s. It's been a tough one for him. His best finish was a 16th, and that was last week at IRP. So despite having some pretty decent pace in qualifying at times, the race finishes have not followed it. I think, as you see him blink out there, some internet problems. The challenge at a place like Talladega as a cutoff race for the regular season is this is an opportunity for those that are not even in the playoffs to win a race or have it not even close. And that can be an upset for those that are on that bubble that need that win. It's just, it's an opportunity for everyone, and only one driver is going to get that victory, that all-powerful victory, and even then, you have to be in the top 20 to really use it. Stafford goes 10th quick, and Bryce Senesac will be our last qualifier. Ryan Olson is here, but not on track just yet. 30 trucks so far have qualified.
Yeah, we saw that kind of spoiler come into play at Atlanta in the Pro Series where, yes, we had a new winner and a surprise winner, but not high enough in points, not running enough races to utilize it. That was Philip York who got credited for that win at Atlanta, but outside the top 30 in points, it didn't matter. So it kind of throws all that, surprise winner and walk-off winner thing out the window if something like that happened tonight. We almost had it last night with multiple drivers and have the opportunity for it tonight. There's not many drivers outside the top 12 that are in a position where they win and get in, but Senesac is hoping he doesn't have to utilize that, but he is. It's about maybe close to 10 points below the cut line. Regardless of how it goes, the cut line for Senesac is close, so he needs to qualify up front and get some bonus points. As qualifying comes to an end here, he goes about 22nd.
Yeah, and look at the top 10. Not a single bubble driver in that top 10. There's only 2 drivers that are locked in. A lot of bubble drivers, 13th to 18th, though, and that can make things very interesting when we go racing here in just a moment's time. This is the final race of the regular season for the Area Truck Series. Race fans, be sure to subscribe to the Area iRacing Twitch channel. For only $5 a month, you can watch all Area broadcasts commercial-free. You can also use new Area iRacing emotes in the chat and earn double channel points as a subscriber that you can use to redeem for free merchandise. They're just moments away from taking the racetrack for our green flag for an 80-lap event tonight. Last night was 91. We went 1 lap extra in overtime. And Eric Wineland has let us know that he is on a controller tonight, giving it a go because he is on vacation. So I guess for some, the racing never stops, Connor.
Yeah, I'd say he's working on vacation. I don't know if there's much of a vacation, as we're not going to have Wineland's camera, obviously, because of that. We do have Michael Carhan. This sign is dedicated to Eric Wineland, Fear the Luscious Beard.
Well, we'll see if he fears it tonight. That is Michael Carhan. We've got JT Poole, different camera angle every night. He's got Ricky Bobby with the Talladega hat on in the background. There he is. Braden Goddard joins us tonight as well. Well, he was. He'll run away real quick to get set, close the door, get ready to shout and scream as we go drafting here in just a moment. We've got Justin Munsell as well as David Weishart and a handful of others. It's a busy place in here tonight, as well as Alan Elwood this evening.
You got almost a full house as far as the video cameras tonight. Very important to close that door. You don't want to wake anyone up. This is a little bit later for some, but definitely going to be an exciting one. So many storylines to follow, including the guy who won his first area race last week, JT Poole, on the pole. Didn't really note his lap, but he did get up there, so he's trying to go back to back and once again spoil the party.
Well, we'll see how things go here in just a moment's time. It's time to roll through the Roasted Gems Coffee starting lineup. Race fans, start your engines with a fresh cup of Roasted Gems Coffee. Choose from some of the finest coffee beans from Colombia and Peru, or try the blended flavors of French vanilla and hazelnut. Use discount code Area iRacing for 10% off your order at checkout at roastedgems.com. Kicking things off with row number 1, it is going to be JT Poole in the number 26, last week's winner. Not going to get inside, he doesn't have enough races to be eligible for those playoffs. That win won't do him any good. Logan Hartman, strong effort, starts second in the number 96, Connor.
Jacob Bell near that cut line. He's looking for Monday Night Redemption. We've heard that before. He's starting third with a great qualifying run. Shane Therian, must-win scenario for the 83. He starts fourth.
Starting in row number 3 in 5th place, it's Justin Anasogak in the number 88, locked in by virtue of that win earlier in the season. Greg Mitchell in the number 2 truck, rolls off 6th in the number 2 Ford F-150.
And number 2 and 6th. The number 7, starting 7th. James Scioli, dominant in the area this season. No worries for him, just racing for another win alongside Josh Taylor in the 57.
In 9th place, it'll be Dawson Miller in the number 11 truck, and Bronson Stafford starts 10th in the number 61.
Ryan Swan is going to start P11, another driver in a must-win scenario alongside the truck champion, locked in, I think from his win at Martinsville, Brett Slaughter Jr.
And a handful of drivers on the bubble. Mason Kane in the 31 and Garrett Grant just inside, but needs to have a good finish tonight to cling to it. He rolls off 14th.
No worries for David Weishart. Really not many worries from this row, number 8. David Weishart locked in with a win of 15th. Alan Elwood pretty much all locked in on points. Not out of the question, but he's looking solid. He starts 16th.
And 17th place, Michael Curhan in the number 24 Ford F-150. Justin Munsell in the number 6 Toyota Tundra TRD Pro starts 18th.
Philip York starting 19th, another must-win scenario. His best finish this season was 2nd at North Wilkesboro. He's been that close this season. He's going to have to do one better. AJ Roderick alongside him starting 20th.
21st place, Bobby Tinch in the number 54. Bryce Senesac starts 22nd in the 09.
Cameron Hearn locked in with a win. Little down there on points, but he'll be good regardless. He starts 23rd alongside another race winner this season, Travis Beckner.
And Carter Coop, Braden Goddard make up row number 13. Follow that up with Tom Bourne, Eric Wineland, 27th and 28th. Then Waterworth and Olson rounding out the rest of your field. And on a controller tonight, that's going to be hard to modulate and manage at a track like this. Connor, pick me some favorites tonight. Who you got winning this thing?
JT Poole, he's on the pole. He's my favorite. We saw how aggressive he was last night. I think he's going to be a big favorite. Jacob Bell knows how to stay up at the front at the end of these races, regardless of the car or truck. He's able to stay up at the front. Obviously, just Anasogak, he's our Daytona winner. It's hard to bet against him. He's always fast, and he's got teammates on his side as well. So if I had to pick one of them, I got to go with the 88.
As far as my pick, well, last night I don't think we expected a season favorite to get the job done. It was Jake Nichols in the 73. I'm going to pick the favorite tonight. I think the stats align with me there. The number 7 of James Scioli, the winningest driver. He knows how to race these super speedway tracks. He rolls off 7th tonight. He'll be in a good position by being smart and being present when the race comes to an end. 80 laps tonight, an hour and 14 minutes from flag to flag if we were to go green. But it's not a short one, not a long one, right down the middle. JT Poole won on one of the smallest tracks on the schedule last week. This week he will bring us down to the start at the biggest. Talladega, one final opportunity. Give and take all season long, but tonight is take, take, take. This is your opportunity, the pedestal to put yourself on to be in contention for the championship. Here we go from Talladega. Green flag flies and we're racing in Alabama. Oh, look out. JT Poole slams the door shut on Shane Therian. What a way to end the first lap with a big move across the center of the track. And that was decisive there, but Shane Therian now powers up the outside with Brad Slaughter Jr. in tow.
I'm really surprised to see that block at the end of the very first lap, but talked about his aggression. He's going to be very aggressive tonight. He's only going for wins, so he doesn't need he throws caution in the wind with his scenario as Therian, who needs that win, goes to the race lead.
Whoa.
Wow.
Now he returns the favor into turn number 3, and now Brad Slaughter Jr.'s got open track ahead. Big moves early here, Connor. Is it too early to be making big, consistent moves like that, or do you think, is there some kind of unwritten rule about letting people pull those moves early in the race and maybe shutting the door later?
I definitely think if you're not going to give right now, I'm going to take later. There's definitely something to that, but also I do still think it's a bit early to be doing that. JT Poole started it. Shane Therian tried to finish it with that slam down to the bottom, so no surprise to see him return to favor, and also wouldn't be surprised to see him return to favor if he has to do it again.
Travis Beckner is in the middle of a hornet's nest right now in the 28 truck, in the middle of that white and blue with the yellow numbers. 3 wide down the back straightaway. Brad Slaughter Jr. now powering to the lead, and a sly smile beginning to form as he went down the back straightaway, but back to serious as you enter the corners here. We saw a little bit of pushing and shoving mid-corner last night, Connor, and sometimes it didn't work out so well. How's it going to be tonight?
I think it's going to be a little bit better, but these trucks are still on edge. Not that much downforce, at least not enough to make it absolutely perfect if you're tandeming. If you're going to push someone in a corner, you can't hit them hard and you can't hit them off the center of the bumper. So you have to have someone very experienced and very gentle on your rear bumper to be doing that. And if you're not doing it correctly, you're going to know because you're going to see someone going into the fence in the corner.
Travis Beckner up 13 spots in the first 4 laps. He's on a mission. He's got Cameron Hearn tucked in behind him. And on the high side now, which mobility is sometimes good up there, Connor, but you get stuck. And I see JT Poole dropping out now. I'm not sure if that was intentional or not, but he's below that yellow line and trying to merge back up.
I think he blinked. We saw that happen to him a lot last night, and he got out of the way to be safe. Very close rejoin from him there. He luckily got room from Justin Sogak, but we'll have to monitor that once again. It's 3 wide for the lead now.
Yeah, 3 wide for the top spot. Garrett Grant in need of a solid night. Doesn't need to win, but just needs to not have anyone else win. So there's the pressure. Still 3 wide as we enter turn number 1. And 4 laps complete. And things are a little slower than they were last night, but not by much. 10, 15 miles an hour slower at the ends of the straight. But that buys you some important time. You've got at least a second to breathe.
An extra second to breathe at that, but it's still non-stop action. I would argue it's non-stop action. You're probably trying to work a little harder because you got more time to utilize, so you're going to try to utilize that time to get to the front all night long. So we're going to see that come into play at some point as well. Slaughter's going to go to the middle instead, give Grant the bottom, pushed by Therian. Grant trying to get that bonus point, didn't get it last lap. He was 3 to the good coming in tonight, but we're going to see that cut line shift up because of Eric Wineland. Not only because he's on a controller, but he immediately lost a draft. He's back there with Ryan Olsen, so because of him being on a controller, Elwood a little squirrely. Oh, excuse me, we're looking 4 wide.
Woo, 4 wide for a second. Elwood in the middle of it. Cameron Hearn's way up high, and now this 4 wide is just going to move back farther until the 28 drops in line. That was a smart call there. So early to be racing this hard, but with how much is on the line tonight, you can't really blame them for getting aggressive. But certainly no shortage of moves being made. We saw Slaughter chop down from the middle to the bottom and then back up to the middle by the time he left turn 4 last lap around.
Yeah, that was Cameron Hearn who made it 4 wide. He did not want to be pushing Beckner, or that probably just wanted clean air on the nose. These trucks heat up very quickly if you're not careful. That could have been a product of that as that 3rd lane kind of goes away. Now JT Poole, who dropped way back because of that blink, he's now trying to get a 3rd line going, and a Sogak trying to push him. Let's talk about Wineland already losing a draft. And you know how I know how it is on a controller, at least at a road course. It's not fun. So he's going to probably be running at the back for the very majority of this race and just hoping for stuff to happen because it's not going to be looking good for him.
Yeah, a lot of blinking going on midfield there as well. The 61 of Bronson Stafford. And that is never a comforting feeling when you're driving alongside it, Connor, but there's not much you can do as someone who's being affected by it, and often it's not clear that it's you that has the problem.
You almost chalk it up to a server issue when everyone's doing it. We saw it last night. Everyone's pings, Jeremy Miller, my teammate, kind of noticed that everyone's pings are very high, and we saw a lot of netcode last night. So that's something that's not really common, netcode with the new damage model. We might see it again, hoping not to. These trucks are going to be a little bit different from the Cup cars, but it is odd to see so many cars and trucks blinking.
Look at the 8. Moves up the racetrack. Alan Elwood is going to power into the inside. Elwood in position tonight to qualify his way into the playoffs should he have a decent result, but needs a good result. Again, if you're not lit up in blue, you can fall out mathematically. Oh, Beckner off the bumper of the 26 of JT Poole.
I don't know if he really wanted to. He was 41 to a good coming in tonight, so only about 30 drivers. That should be good. So that should probably change. Same thing for Tom Bourne, but yeah, once again, all speculation.
Yep, entry list dependent, obviously, before the night happens. You could have up to 40 drivers, and it would change the math a little bit.
Even without it, it's still, they weren't really the concern at the beginning anyways. It's really Mason Kane on down. I haven't talked about Mason Kane at all, actually. He's at the back.
Boy, that was
my
big.
goodness.
JT Poole drops to the bottom, and everybody scatters. It's such a tense moment when you see big lane changes like that, and you see it change that upper groove. Curhan has to lift the 57 to Josh Taylor, the 12. The momentum gets changed, stunted, and shuffled around so quickly. And you have to react 5 rows back without seeing what initially kicked it all off anyway.
And that's what really caused the wrecks at the end of a race last night, because you get big runs and you add the swerving, everyone trying to get into different lanes and trying to block. It causes chaos because the guys changing lanes at the front of the field, the guys in the middle of the field kind of lose their focus, at least some of them, and you just get people swerving all over the place. Contributed to the backstretch crash with David Weishart, Seth Knoll, as more drivers do a trial will go up the track. Everyone kind of gets disoriented when the weaving starts happening. The lack of big runs in these trucks might help that not happen as much, but still got to be wary of these guys changing lanes like that.
Justin Sogak was chasing Jacob Bell up the track. There's Braden Goddard in the 38. Another driver that's had a handful of races cut short this season. Braden right now working the top 10 after starting in 26th.
Yeah. No top 10s for him, so like you said, he hasn't had too many runs where he was at the very back. He just had a lot of trouble playing him, so just trying to end this regular season on a high note for him, and he's gotten up through the field a little bit. He started 26th, he's almost into the top 10. As you can see, you got the driver starting at the back, coming to the front, and some of the guys who started at the front just bow down immediately, like Greg Mitchell, who's in 21st right now.
You see all the communication happening with Braden on the front straightaway. Just like the real world, it is a constant flow of communication, especially with teammates, Connor. Talk to me, you were racing with teammates last night. How much conversation is happening, especially in key points of the race?
Oh, all the time, especially at the end of a race. Oh, wow, a lot of swerving. Jacob Bell trying to get to the third lane, but you're always constantly talking about where you are on the track and where the lanes are and where the runs are coming from. You're always trying to communicate that because you're always trying to get together. Like, we got to the front at some point, me and Jeremy were just always communicating where the runs were coming from. Did we have a run? How many cars are still in the draft? You talk about all of that, and when it gets to the end, you kind of go on your own, but you're still, the situation we were in, we're trying to get someone into the playoffs, you're trying to help them for all 90 laps. Didn't work out, but whether you have one teammate or 3 to 4 teammates or even more in this race, you're always communicating.
Change in lanes there for Bryce Senesac. He goes to the middle. And Brad Slaughter Jr. has had a pretty solid grasp on the front of the field so far tonight. I like running up front most of the evening. It seems like it's a different kind of restrictor plate racing or different kind of super speedway racing. I, in the past, would have said, hey, let's ride at the back, ride around a little bit. But we've seen, especially last night, so many cars survive to the end that charging through the field late is a bigger hazard than just being up front and kind of being in the thick of it. So if you can play the game, I'd be up front right now and be comfortable with making these moves now and teach yourself something for later. We've also seen with the new damage model that you can get away with quite a bit in terms of contact and accidents, so I don't think the risk is quite as much as it perhaps was in the past.
Yeah, that was always my strategy. Weishart goes to the bottom. It was always my strategy. I run at the back and just kind of get there when it mattered because, like you said, a product of a new damage model or a product of the old one, whichever way you want to look at it. If you got damage, you're pretty much out of the race and too slow to keep up with the lead pack. So the lead pack got a little bit smaller and you can get through the field quicker. But like you said, not the case. You can stay in the race with a lot of damage and stay in the lead pack. So I've had to kind of switch my style and try to run up at the front as much as possible. It's still not something I'm comfortable with, but with the way the racing is now and just with how packed up and how close this series is as far as driving style and as far as pace, you have no choice but to have to run up at the front consistently here.
I think it was the 38 that went, from bottom to top there. And there's a lot more maneuverability in these trucks mid-corner as well. I think they're maybe a bit more planted in some senses at a track like this, Connor, where you can kind of change lanes mid-corner and not have it wildly upset the car. I know that's been an issue in the Cup Series car in the past.
It was definitely an issue last night, and not much of an issue in these trucks. You'll see it as an issue in Xfinity as Poole, and here comes the blocking Poole, middle to bottom, really aggressive from the 26. But yeah, definitely an issue last night, not so much in the trucks. You're much more planted with the way these trucks are kind of panned out. You will see more of that kind of lack of grip to make those top to bottom moves on Thursday night as well. But these trucks, a little bit different. I think that's because they're a little bit slower and just a lot more downforce.
The other thing you have to worry about is temperature management, making sure that you're not getting stuck in an area where there's no air, right? You're packed in very tight, struggling to get air to the nose. You might have to peek out just to cool things off, although it doesn't seem like it's as big of a deal as it used to be with the two-car tango. That was something where you would run the thing till it was red hot and then have to switch. Not quite as big of a deal now as long as you leave some distance between the bumpers, Connor, but it's still a consideration, especially if you're in the middle and you don't have a lot of opportunity to peek out and get some fresh air into that engine.
Yeah, that's something we're going to be seeing all night long. Drivers trying to peek out, trying to get their temperatures under them. We didn't really see anyone's temps get into a bad spot last night, but everyone's always pushing in the 280s, and you got to be aware of that, especially if you're like Travis Beckner. You've been pushing JT Poole for a number of laps now. Oh, he's on the left rear, can't do that, but you got to be aware of those temps. You really have to kind of work it out to be off them in the corners and on them down the straightaways. That's how you're going to make a lot of speed while keeping your temps low, as that 26 is wiggling off the front bumper of Beckner.
Still 3 wide for most of the field now. There's a handful of trucks that have singled out. Now, the two trucks that you mentioned earlier that got separated, Ryan Olsen and Eric Wineland, things are dire for this group, Connor. This is so early in the run that they could go 2 laps down at this pace. They are 3 to 4 seconds off everyone else here.
They're definitely going to have to be able to work their way into the pack, especially Wineland. It's already bad enough he's on the controller, can't do anything points-wise, but he goes a second lap down. It's pretty much all but over, and that means opportunity for Justin Munsell, Michael Curhan, the guys right below him in that cut line.
Just in the background, you could hear them whooshing by the start stand here, working lap number 17 this time through. No yellows so far. We frankly haven't even gotten close. I want to beg the question, I'm probably going to jinx it immediately, but beg the question, could we go green from start to finish? We've seen it at Talladega before. It's not impossible. Could we see that tonight, and how much would that upset the strategies everyone's planning for?
I don't know how much it would upset the strategies. I think after how green we went last night, people are, especially at Atlanta, the super speedway races we've had, most of them have gone typically green, besides maybe 1 or 2. So I think a lot of people are planning for a long green flag run and are planning their fuel stints out for that. And we have gone green at Talladega in leagues in the past, but it doesn't come without minor incidents that just don't bring out yellows. We saw that last night as well. So I don't really expect it to happen with the blocks we're seeing this early on, but you just never know.
3 wide, very tight.
4 wide.
And
we're
trying
not surprised
4.
at that at all.
Oh boy.
Not surprised to see them dump JT Poole. They doored him and Roderick doored there. They're still banging doors.
Yeah, this is it. This is it. The 12 right on the. I thought they were going to wreck right there. They somehow didn't.
They're trying.
We're still 4
Roderick.
wide. JT Poole getting squeezed. Incredible focus, and JT Poole surges forward out of a 4 wide scenario.
Definitely a scenario where Roderick was not stable to be 4 wide. You could see him kind of weaving there. JT Poole withstood the pressure. I don't even think it really broke a sweat on him. He's as focused as ever, but I'm not surprised to see drivers in this pack trying to dump him. They've seen how aggressive he is. They probably don't want him up there.
Are we getting complacent, perhaps? I always wonder, when we race this aggressively, people are ready to amp up to the next notch. And maybe don't kind of just take what they've got. Look at the 8 to the bottom, right ahead of the 10. Changes lanes. They both drop the tires below that yellow line. fair game unless you obviously overtake, and just 2 tires is all right. But they had to kind of run down there to save the cars. The trucks. They were wiggling a bit after that contact.
Yeah, extremely close, cutting it there as the top surges ahead, but the middle's also got momentum. Not much formality on the bottom, down the back straightaways. They almost look 4 wide again. That's Braden Goddard out of line. Not going to work for him. He'll get back to the top. That's Josh Taylor picking him up as that ruins that momentum. That's all it takes, just that little twitch from someone in your line.
Oh,
Goddard!
Deep saves it.
Oh, watch the rejoin. He blinked there. That might have caused it a little bit, but very fortunate to not to cause a big wreck there.
Yeah, he gathers it up. Doesn't even break a sweat doing that either. Let's see, have a look on the SimRat Market replay. Just gets kind of turned off the nose of the 10. I don't know that there was a blink, but again, high ping times, all those things can correlate. They kind of double everybody back up, and now comes the 77 to Jacob Bell. He's perhaps a dark horse to win these races. Connor, he's been so close so many times across all the series. Why not tonight?
I don't know why not tonight. He has the pace to do it, and he has the help right now from Justin Sogak and Cameron Hearn. But they're going to probably have to beat the guys who have been at the front all race as well, like JT Poole. We saw him in the sucker hole 4 wide. He got back to the lead through all that, so he's going to be tough to beat. But that 77's always at the front as we see pit stops here. Brad Slaughter Jr. is going to bring Weishart, it looks like the entire team down.
Yep, and working lap number 20, so one can surmise that they're going to split this into quarters, perhaps? That seems like excessive to me. Maybe they're going to go one more stop from here, right?
I would think so. I don't think they're doing quarters. I would say they're pitting at 20. I wouldn't be surprised if they pit at 50, and then that would be it. That's what I would think they're doing here. No way you're doing quarters.
And they have enough trucks that they might be able to make time, right? I mean, everyone kind of coordinating together.
Especially they're not taking full fuel, they're not taking as much fuel, and they're not taking tires, so they're going to have quick pit stops as well. So if you can keep the pace with a line of about 5 or 6 trucks, which you can do, you could be in a good spot to be in the conversation by the end. So we'll see if anyone else wants to hop on their strategy. No one did that time by as Wineland and Olsen finally meet the lead pack.
Yeah, they're going to stay way up high. But the pack is still 3 abreast behind them, so we're going to be 4 for a minute, and we're going to be doing it in the corner as well. Jacob Bell, is he going to lift and facilitate this? I think so. That was a very smart, long-run decision for the 77 to kind of blend back in here.
Gotta always watch Wineland on a controller. You have to be aware of that. But
he's doing a good job, actually, all things considered.
The dotted lines really help in a scenario like this. I wish Road America had them. I don't know how much it would have helped there, but...
Summit Point's got some.
Yeah, you're not wrong there. Summit Point, that's a underrated track, because now Wineland's in the middle. It's not where you really want to be when you're on a controller. 3 wide middle. As more pitters. Comes Alan Elwood and the 83 Ethereum and all those guys. Stafford, Mason Kane, Tom Bourne, and others.
A barrage of Toyotas and Chevrolets make their way down to pit road, lap 23. So it looks like the strategy here is pit lap 20 to 25, then pit lap 50 to 55, and run to the end from there.
Oh my goodness, we almost had a moment out in the turn 1. Looked like the Braden Goddard thought he was clear. He door slammed JT Poole. The doors on that 26 are getting used up, but they doored into turn 1, but they kept it straight. As this is shuffled the field a little bit. Josh Taylor leads now, and his teammate Gary Waterworth is pretty close. Beckner's up there as this pack starts to dwindle a little bit because of the pit stops.
And as it does, the energy will start to kind of dissipate, and that could actually make you faster, but JT Poole, Beckner, and a few others are going to make their trip down to pit lane. Is it just these 2? Nope, there's a few more behind him, a couple Ford Mustangs. One of them, is that Wineland? Yes, it is.
And Dawson Miller.
As Waterworth takes the lead into turn 1.
And now, yeah, the more the pack dwindles, I would say it could be, it's kind of going to vary speed-wise. Depends on who's in the pack, but they could easily get faster. JT Poole missed his stall a little bit as he had to back up a little bit, so we'll see how much that hurts. Got to nail your stalls, but the energy's going to go into this pack that's pitted already, and they're likely going to have a faster pace than the guys side by side with only about 12 or 13 trucks. So definitely something we got to look at.
Still dead heat for the top spot. Braden Goddard on the outside. Jacob Bell following him.
Oh, spin. Dawson Miller spun on pit exit.
And he is on the apron, so we're good for now as the next group of trucks comes on pit lane. Grant, Hearn, Curhan, and Greg Mitchell, all the Physicus trucks. See what happened to Dawson Miller. Just throttled up and spun the rear tires.
Product of taking no tires as well. Get all the stuff on your tires. You think you can throttle up like you did on new tires. Can't do that. As I can already tell the guys who have not pit yet are probably going to be in a bad spot time-wise. They're running 52.1s, 52.3s. Justin Munsell, not Justin Munsell, but the pack that's pit way faster.
Yeah, it's just all the dissipation and the disorganization is what slows you down over the course of this run.
It almost forces your hand to have to pit now instead of running the fuel. Waterworth, this is going to bring everyone.
And we'll see if everybody makes it down to speed. Josh Taylor in there pretty hard, but got it woed on down. And that will cycle, in theory, Garrett Grant. Well, they were leading for just a moment, but look at the 29 of Weishart with an acceleration on the outside lane. And that will bring Brad Slaughter, James Scioli, Bryce Senesac, Bobby Tinch, and Munsell to the front.
And well executed by David Weishart Racing there. They all get to the front pretty much, as definitely the plan worked out. Pitting earlier and pitting with people you know especially pays off because you know how to get formed up. Like we said, communicating that the entire time, so you know when to get formed up and know how all that works. And definitely played a factor them getting to the front. But this will definitely spread the field out, as the drivers who pit in that recent pack are definitely not going to stay with the pack, it looks like. That includes Jacob Bell. Going to be close for them.
Single file lines, though, this is how you click off laps. And this is good. I mean, for drivers that are just trying to make it to the end, they're happy to see everyone single file out, Connor. They don't want three wide all the time. As fun as that is to watch, the drivers would love everyone to just cooperate. On the outside lane, though, JT Poole and Travis Beckner are not. They're going to go to the outside lane.
Those are the two I expected to be up there.
Yep. Aggression. And it pays off a lot of the times here at Talladega or Daytona.
Yeah. And it'll pay off here because all those drivers in one single line, you're going to get stacked up and you're just not going to be as fast. Two-car tango on the top, you're going 5 miles an hour faster, and Scioli wanted to run, and Beckner and JT Poole are having none of it. But Brad Slaughter Jr. made sure Scioli wasn't left out. Now Senesek up there, making sure those two don't get by them. Yeah,
I don't know that Weishart wanted to take the line up there, but Scioli did, and then Brad Slaughter went up there a little bit too late to cover off Beckner and Beckner and JT Poole, so they're going to accelerate past. At least the 28 is clear, and he's going to ditch the 26 of JT Poole. It drops ahead of the 8, who is not satisfied behind. He wants to go around him, and we'll see if Scioli follows. He should, and he will.
Oh, Poole cuts the 29 off, so he'll split the DWR trucks, but Weishart's going to take that back, and now Poole and Beckner get to the bottom, which will, in turn, pretty much work for them. They'll get to the front and stay up into the top 10 this way and gained a lot of track position, but two drivers against about 5 teammates, odds are not in your favor.
They basically just swapped sides of the track. One lap they were on the outside, then the next on the inside, and vice versa for the other group. And look at the power that they've got on the bottom now. These two are working together very well, but I just don't know if they have enough friends to do what the outside lane is doing and kind of pack up and keep their momentum going for longer.
Well, they got friends now. Munsell dropped down, Elwood dropped down, Therian, so everyone went with the middle, but everyone saw, hey, the momentum's on the bottom, no one's down there, let's get to the front of that line. And it's going to get 2 lines back up here again. The DWR guys got to the top, most of them at least, and as they lap Cameron Hearn, didn't even notice he maybe got a penalty out of that, but he'll go a lap down as this field is not as spread out as I thought it'd be. Still about 22 trucks in it.
Yeah, it was a pit road penalty for the number 4. So he drops out of the lead lap, but if he can stick with the group, he'll have a shot at a free pass should we get that yellow flag, and the chances for that are good, but they could be a long ways from now. Beckner and Poole on the bottom, Slaughter and Scioli up top. Then row 3 is Munsell on the bottom, Senesac up high, then Alan Elwood and Shane Therian. Down the back straightaway, another group, the 77. He has been pretty aggressive at these super speedway style tracks, the 77 has.
As has Justin Asogak. He was very aggressive at Daytona, got him the win. It's the reason he's in the playoffs as they get tight for the top spot. But those two hooked up together could be dangerous near the end of a race, the 77 and the 88. 2 fast drivers and 2 aggressive drivers, and 2 drivers who know how to win, or at least get into a conversation to win at these tracks.
Pretty orderly 2x2 right now. Certainly better for the drivers' heart rates than the 3 wide we did for about 20 laps prior to that first sequence of pit stops. And coming this time through to complete lap number 30.
Beckner tried to block the top and it did not work. He's going to go backwards.
Still a lot of blinking going on. I can't even select some drivers because of how bad it is. So that's a frustrating scenario for some as the 29 of Weishart jumps to the high lane and he will pick up Bobby Tinch. We'll see if they jump to the front or if one of the other teammates, the DWR teammates, will go up there to block that outside lane.
Not be surprised if Beckner gets up there to block them. He has the advantage, but the top line, they kind of all went up there in the turn and kind of kills any momentum you get when you do that in the corner. So they drop back. Did not work for Weishart yet, but we'll see what type of run him and Bobby Tinch get down the backstretch as kind of steady here at 2 functioning lines. The third one's not getting going yet as another driver getting lapped. That's Dawson Miller, who had that spin.
Tinch way high out of turn 2, drops back ahead of Josh Taylor.
Just selling in at that point. You lose all the track position, you think, oh, might as well just ride.
This race is clicking away at a pretty quick clip. And that will increase the desperation a lot. The top 10 is majority drivers that are in the conversation for the playoffs, locked or not. And Munsell really in a good position as well.
Bryce Setnasak up there. He's going to need points. Likely, with the way the points are, likely in a scenario he does need the win. So having a lot of teammates around him is going to really pay off if they can stay that way for him. Shane Therian, he has some friends up there. Another must win. And Brian Swan is one of those guys. Not many guys who are in the points battle are quite up there right now.
Still side by side for the lead, 2 even lines. And then a third one a little ways back from that, led by Jacob Bell. And in there is the 42 of Garrett Grant, kind of in the middle. Connor, long run at Talladega. I don't really care how fast the line is. I want to be on the bottom just because I want an escape route, right? The high lane is how you make your positions up, but it is a dangerous place to be. If anything happens ahead of you on the bottom, you're in it. There's not really much you can do to miss it at that point.
Yeah, it's kind of risk versus reward. The top you use because you can get to the front using it. You can kind of see everything that's happening from the top line regardless, but you know, everything goes to the top line. Very rarely we see a crash where the third lane gets away with it unscathed. But the bottom line, yes, you're kind of stacked up. You're not going to go anywhere, but can't really see much. But if you do see the wreck in time, depending on where the crash happens, you have a lot of room under you to navigate through. A lot more pavement to get by as Slaughter blocks the middle to get the side by side with Beckner. But definitely kind of risk versus reward being on the top versus the bottom. And don't even get me started on the middle.
Oh boy, it's getting packed up. 26 of JT Poole, drive it on the bottom, and we're 3 by 3 by 3. How many rows deep doesn't even matter. They're packing them in here at Talladega. They've got tons of straightaway to use, and they're using all of the width and not so much the length.
About 23 drivers under a blanket here. Actually, about 24 drivers under a blanket going 3 by 3 now. And at this point, no one's really close to their pit window, so you might as well get your track position now as Poole's going to get back to the front to block Beckner.
Oh, late, but these two have worked together, so likely conversing to plan out their maneuvers. That will open the inside lane for Munsell and Alan Elwood. The outside lane still with the 77 being pushed by the 4 of Cameron Hearn, still the highest driver placed 1 lap down.
Yeah, Hearn's in his own battle here because he's not the only one to lap down. There's Dawson Miller's a lap down in this pack. So, JT Poole gets spun back up the track. He's going to save it.
He will save it, but that is going to be a catastrophic end potentially to his day, and it was off the bumper of the 28. I guess say end to his day, end to his run, I should say, because he'll likely get an opportunity to redo it. But just a push mid-corner sent him around, and the front, a volatile place right now, Connor.
might get less volatile because the aggressive guys kind of got screwed out of that pool, out of the pack. Beckner kind of got split there, so DWR is going to maintain control of this, at least control of most of the middle lane. But now it's a mad scramble. You saw someone spin. There was another. I was like, oh God, what do I do now? Everyone gets crazy for a little while before it calms back down again.
See if JT Poole can pick up Carter Koop and Logan Hartman here, just behind. Maybe find a little bit of pace to at least not let him get lapped so quickly. 2 even lines again. That's how quickly things sort and unsort. The entropy of auto racing.
Yes, that is how quickly it happens at a track this fast. Now we're back to, like you said, 2 lanes, and no one's really trying the 3rd lane quite yet. Cameron Hearn went up there, but that's not going to help him out. That's going to give Dawson Miller the potential lucky dog position, as all the pushing's getting pretty tough at the front after that happened. You're trying to get your lane ahead, and maybe, especially if you're on the bottom, trying to get your lane ahead and maybe have a shot to get to that middle lane to take the lead. That's what Alan Elwood's trying to do right now.
Justin Munsell powers ahead, Alan Elwood behind. And again, the mental focus you have to have. We talked about this last night. Even in the real world, you know,
had another, excuse me, sorry to cut you off, had another crash. JT Poole got spun again, and he's sitting in turn number 3.
From bad to worse.
What in the world?
Did he just try to get picked up and got... Ooh, he just kind of got pushed the pushered.
Yeah, kind of got turned, and Carter Koop had nothing he could do there. So
He went for a ride.
Yeah, that was really weird. Unfortunate for him. Carter Koop is one of those drivers who was just racing the race, and he had nothing he could do there after that. But I guess, like I say, all calm at the front. I wouldn't call this calm. It's just a little bit muted chaos.
Less chaotic, yeah. And JT's going to probably go a lap down here pretty quick, but there's still a lot of racing left to go. We're not even to halfway just yet. We are coming up on that pretty quick. And we saw last night with you in particular how quickly you can rebound if you get a yellow flag, but that's the question. Well, we'll probably get one, but it could be lap 76. And then what if you're JT Poole, right? So and he's going to be battling the 4 of Cameron Hearn, who is a lap down and in the pack at speed.
If he stays with the draft here, you got the V-apron to let everyone by, but you lose a lot of momentum doing that. Got to get some draft here, as looks like I think he'll be okay. He got back up in time, so yeah, he's going to have to race these 2 guys to be able to do this, and it's going to get pretty, I would say it should get intense between those 3, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Lap 39 of 80.
He's also likely going to have to battle Braden God or Mason Kane. They're not too far away from being lapped as well. Not what Mason Kane needed either. He needs points. He is not safe at all. Only 14 of the good coming in tonight. So this is another bad scenario for him. 2 drivers who are in on points, not having good days.
Safe is a funny word at Talladega.
Is it ever used at Talladega?
No. And I think that's why, you know, you go to a place like Martinsville or Phoenix or Texas as a cutoff race, and you can just mathematically say, well, that guy's not going to finish last. But here at Talladega, anybody can finish last, and that can happen at any moment. So it really opens up the possibilities for a big upset as far as the playoffs are concerned. That's why nothing's over till it's over. As we saw last night, can't trust anything until the checkered flag officially is out.
Get that right.
Back to 3.
Yeah, back to 3 wide, top lane, led by Gary Waterworth, who, one of the late pitters, gets back up into the lead pack and is able to rocket to the front. No surprise, he's pushed by Jacob Bell and Cameron Hearn. Hearn using this to win that lucky dog fight, possibly, as the bottom line's really broken up.
Halfway this time through, 40 laps down, 40 laps to go in the Area Truck Series regular season finale. Brad Slaughter Jr. has been a dominant truck, has led half the race laps so far. But will that matter? Because last night's winner led 1 lap, and even that was debatable.
Well, he definitely crossed the line on the final lap,
yes.
So he did lead it. I was about 3rd. I'd still contest I was 3rd. But
There was a lot of contesting going on, but the rule book is very clear that iRacing scoring stands, despite visually not being able to really sort how it made its decisions. Because it's not even public knowledge, I don't think, whether it's a scoring loop system or whether it's an instantaneous selection. But if it's a loop system, we don't know where the loops are, and I think that's the critical piece. In real life, there's not all that many. A handful in iRacing. If there's more than that, we're 3 wide again. Waterworth on the outside, Slaughter in the middle, Munsell on the bottom.
Seems like they get too even with Slaughter, but then their run kind of dies once the side draft comes into effect. Also doesn't help that Slaughter is blinking, maybe hurting the middle lane at times, but top line can get there, they just can't get clear.
David Weishart is right in the middle of it right now, literally.
Sees that top lane rocket by as they come with the run in the tri-oval, but they kind of just die once they get to the end of a straightaway and into a corner especially. It just can't maintain that through the corner for the most part.
Yeah, big lifts there as the runs kind of come and go.
Only takes one mistake to wipe out 20 trucks.
They've been doing a good job
tonight. To do it.
They've been doing a decent job. I think last night there was a lot of times when you could look at the field and say they're going to wreck now. And the trucks, despite them running 3 across like this, they have been pretty orderly. And the shoves have been fairly well timed with the exception of the 28 and 26 getting hooked together. And the 8 early on in the race. Lap 19.
Getting closer to what could be pit stops. We kind of speculated the drivers who stopped on lap 20 would probably come in lap 50. We're not too far away from that. So it's going to be around the next 4 to 5 laps where we see drivers trying to fight to get to the bottom line.
Ooh, Justin Asogak dropped to the inside. They'll make up a bunch of ground here. That was a well-timed maneuver. Go from the middle to the bottom and pick up a bunch of spots. See that outside lane struggling now.
Can only last so long with the same drivers pushing. You got Jacob Bell and Cameron Hurd have been pushing for 5 solid laps. You'd think at some point if someone jumps up to the outside, now Waterworth can become the main pusher. It'll help them a little bit more, but Scioli, Slaughter, they're pitting soon, so they're committed to stay closer to that bottom line. So they're not going to get anyone to jump up to the top line.
Middle groove now, the 4 of Cameron Hearn still. He's chasing Dawson Miller. They are the 2, the 11 and the 4. They're the ones that are a lap down and are currently in the free pass position. And the 4 goes middle and turns the 11.
There it is. Below with yellow. Nope, caution's going to come out.
The 77.
Oh, Jacob Bell.
Jacob Bell, the victim on this one. First yellow, lap 45, the 11.
Oh, they're crashing on the front straightaway. Ryan Olsen and Justin Munsell have crashed.
Oh, man. What happened? That was a long time after the...
Way after the yellow. Munsell cannot afford this. He needed points.
That truck is absolutely destroyed.
What in the world? The wreck was over 10 seconds ago.
We'll go back and look at it, but Justin Munsell's day looks to be over. You see the disbelief on his face. How could that happen? Let's first go back and see what happened there between those trucks. So they were coming out of turn 4. What in the world?
Oh my gosh. Ryan Olsen came off the bottom and almost took out that. Lucky that was only Justin Munsell. That is ridiculous. What in the world?
What just happened?
Why was he here in the first place? He's in the grass and he's trying to get it going and the tires are spinning. And he just doesn't even pay attention and comes up into a track in front of him. That's unacceptable. That cannot be forgiven. Alan Elwood did a great job getting by that, as well as many others. That is a terrible way for your playoff hopes to end. That is so unacceptable.
I mean, he got turned here, and I guess I understand a little bit of red mist, but there's a responsibility to merge safely, and this is not an example of that.
That's That's terrible. I don't know. Was that Logan Hartman he had contact with in 3 to even cause that? That was...
Yes, the 96.
He 6 turns him, yeah.
I've never seen anything like that before. There's pit stops underway, but let's go back and look at it. So the yellow lights are on. Munsell lifting, slowing.
Also trying to catch the pace car.
Yep.
You need to pit.
I mean, he's not doing anything irresponsible. There's nothing that Justin Munsell could have done different there.
No. Literally being the first one of the scene was the worst thing that could have happened to him. Yeah, you'll see Elwood. I mean, there's nothing to do here. Look at the job Alan Elwood does here.
Holy cow.
He came the closest to also getting in it, and he did a great job getting by. I can't believe that happened as majority of the field comes down. Everyone on the lead lap actually comes down.
Imagine this in real life would have been absolutely catastrophic.
Yes.
Wow, what a job Elwood did there, really. But anyway, we had another incident that actually triggered the yellow flag, and it was with Jacob Bell. But it didn't start there. It started a little ways behind that. It was with the 11 and the 4, Cameron Hearn and Dawson Miller. And I saw them go 3 wide, and then it looked like the 11 just kind of got hooked. Right there, the 4 sees a hole, kind of goes for it, and then just kind of tags the 11. And he tried to save it, and then you see the 77 and the 16 get together.
Yeah, it's shame for Jacob Bell as well, because he was so fast and could have easily won this race. If he gets it repaired, maybe he's okay, but we'll have to see. But that's how aggressive the battle with a lucky dog can get. And wow, that was a hellacious hit. That was almost reminds me of Vickers and Jr. at Daytona, the way their battle with a lucky dog, and they came together. And then that wasn't even the worst part of it, as you see it go out of frame there, as Bell's trying to get back going. Ooh, they almost met in the middle between those two. And they're completely oblivious to what happened out of 4.
So with all that aside, we are under yellow for the first time tonight with just over 30 laps to go. Safe to the end from here. Connor, what's our fuel scenario?
Well, we're going to restart closer to 30 to go than 40 to go. I'd be topping off personally. I think you can go without topping off, but I personally still do it, as you're going to see Elwood, Therian, Slaughter, Beckner come in at the front to top off. Therian, once again, one of those drivers who needs to win, so he needs to have assurance he can make it to the end. I think you're good if you're not pitting here. I don't see this going green, but we did have a long green run, so it's possible. But yeah, it'll definitely be a topic of conversation on the fuel if we do go green. It might get tight for Anasogak, Skyoli, especially if you're running at the front, but I think everyone should be okay.
Just watching Justin Munsell. A lot of disbelief. Not a lot of anger, though, it doesn't seem. Just confused, bewildered.
I think that sums it up perfectly. You can't really be angry. I mean, you can be angry at it, but like...
Doesn't change it. It happened. It's over.
It's just, and it is shocking. I mean, that's literally at the very bottom of the totem pole of things that you think can take you out. At a track like this, especially. So, well, I think there's definitely a lot of shock out of him.
Certainly, so far, dramatic evening. Let's have a moment to thank Simrap Market race fans. Be sure to visit simrapmarket.com for custom iRacing paint scheme templates that are simple to use and help you stay more focused on the racetrack. Thanks to simrapmarket.com for partnering with the Area iRacing Series. All right, field's catching back up here. I always keep an eye on this closing group, Connor. We've seen a handful of times. This particular situation and badly also.
Yeah, that's like I said, that's kind of low on the pole of things I thought would happen, but it's definitely thrown a lot out of the way. Cameron Hearn, I believe I can't tell if he got the lucky dog or the wave around. I think he got the wave around, but a number of drivers are gonna have to take the wave around. Hearn, JT Poole, Tom Bourne, they're gonna have to take the wave around. And they're gonna have to hope this doesn't go green, because they're gonna be in a bad spot. But everyone else besides Ryan Olsen and Justin Munsell are still in potential play here. Dawson Miller, Eric Wineland still a lap down, but not over yet. Plenty of time.
Coming back to the green flag, working lap number 49. Justin Anasogak, James Scioli, David Weishart, Greg Mitchell, Bobby Tinch, Bryce Senesac. Here we go, green flag, and 32 laps to go. Up to speed now. Justin Anasogak gets a nice shove from Greg Mitchell. We haven't really talked about the 2 truck a lot tonight. Look at that 54 of Bobby Tinch. Decisively swiping across the nose of the 7. Different trucks in the picture now that we haven't seen up here all night long.
Yeah, Sogak gets track position, Bobby Tinch obviously, and Greg Mitchell like we haven't talked about. After that, it's kind of who we saw. Waterworth has been up at the front. Michael Curhan up there. Logan Hartman has gotten up there. He was one of those drivers who was just barely on the lead lap. Those guys who had topped off for fuel like Brad Slaughter, Alan Elwood, they're going to have to make up their track position somehow.
Brad Slaughter had a tense moment there a moment ago. Trying to squeeze between a couple trucks. Trying to pick which lane he wants to be in right now.
Number of drivers back there kind of swerving, trying to find their place in line as middle line surges. Not much other movement other than that. Middle line surges. Now here comes the bottom, into the corner. Bobby Tinch. Haven't seen him at the front a lot at all this season. Is a good opportunity for him to try to turn some heads and maybe steal a win.
In position now. Has he led a lap just yet? Not quite. He's very close to it, though. Just needs to get that little surge with a push from the number 7 of Scioli, but he will not get it this time. And Sogak will lead another lap. 30 laps to go, and things already beginning to wind down here from Talladega. Quick-paced race. And as Larry Mack says, Connor, cautions breed cautions. It is likely that our next green flag run will be shorter than the previous.
Cautions breed cautions, as aggression breeds cautions as well. And speaking of aggressive, top line, those 2 drivers that are aggressive. JT Poole, Cameron Hearn took the wave around, so they do have to pit again, but they're going to run this dry and work together to try to get some track position out of it. 4 blinked, or the 26 blinked. That's not going to go well.
That was a big blink for the JT Poole truck.
Waterworth. One
another. Ooh, he wanted to the inside of Greg Mitchell, but didn't go for it.
Always scary when someone blinks and you end up inside of them, so they had a run, but that'll kill it. There's a lot of decisive moves being made right now. This is really when you want to try to get to the front. You don't want to wait until like 10 to go and then try to get to the front, because then the yellows are going to slow you up most likely. So we're under 30 to go, and the fuel's probably good. You got to go now.
Yeah, if you wait too long, you just have a wall of trucks to drive through. Your path isn't as clear. So if you can at least make some progress now, it's less to do later. You're positioning yourself to position yourself, right? You're getting yourself in position to make that jump at the end. Curhan, top to bottom, he will drop himself into the inside lane.
See if Anasogak wants to move. He will not, but who will move? There comes that duo, that tandem again coming to the front about 7 miles an hour faster than just Anasogak, and you can tell the difference. They're going to rocket to the front, and JT Poole is going to lead this lap, and they'll both get clear.
Travis Beckner doing 4 wide back there. They were 4 wide in the tri-oval. He was on the apron, letting some trucks by, dropping to the rear, maybe senses something about to get messy. But there's always the potential that it doesn't, and then you just give up track position for nothing.
Definitely you really want to hope you're right when it comes to predicting a wreck. So Beckner's definitely trying to do, so we'll see if it works out. Brad Slaughter Jr. did the same thing. He got immediately to the back of the field. And you can see things really oddly spread out in this pack right now, as those 2 tandeming kind of getting separated oddly enough, as we'll see how much longer they can go. Once again, those 2 took the wave around, and they pit around lap 24 and about lap 22 for Poole, so they cannot go much longer.
Pazikis trucks working together and making headway. Curhan to the outside and to the lead.
Not quite clear. They won't stay hooked up through the corner, so they'll lose that. But middle line, the back half of it, led by Gary Waterworth, he'll get back to them and likely help out as 2 by 2 through the field. Will be a little interesting to see what type of fuel JT Poole can make, because he's about 32 laps in. He's close to pitting, so if he didn't top off, maybe it will be closer than we think.
JT Poole leads the way. But I'm just keeping my eye on some trucks that we circled from the start. The 7 of James Scioli is one. You picked JT Poole. Both of them still running inside the top 10. Although the 7 hasn't been very aggressive, but that's not usually his play, Connor. The super speedway races, I hate that they stopped calling them restrictor plate tracks because that's blended into my brain for all time.
Yeah.
And now I have to unlearn that behavior, and it is hard.
Can't even really use super speedway anymore because of Atlanta.
Right.
Because then super speedway. Oh, you mean Atlanta? No.
I mean draft
That's not
tracks.
super speedway. Yeah, I don't. Draft track sounds stupid.
It does.
It's a conversation for another day. But I'm not old, but I'm still mad about it. As we talk about drivers we circled, 26 was one of them, but he does have to pit. There, he will both come together.
And
Two other drivers coming in.
Yeah.
Everyone else who took the wave. Wineland was one of them. I think Braden Goddard's there, as well as Carter Koop, who was in the last crash.
At 25 laps to go, they will make that stop.
We can also somewhat start talking about drivers. We didn't circle for the win, but we're on that playoff bubble. We all saw Justin Munsel's trouble. Michael Curhan was one of those drivers that were right there. He came in tonight -9, and he's leading right now, getting the most point for that. And a lot of drivers ahead of him in points have had some issues, as it looks like they're going to just drop to the back. I think all they wanted was that lap lead, and they're just going to bow out maybe. But with the trouble for Eric Wineland with the controller, Justin Munsell, he's going to jump him almost definitely. And Mason Kane is not in a great spot as well. So definitely a big deal for Curhan to try to get a good finish out of this.
Under 25 laps to go, about 20 minutes of racing remaining. Every time I look it up and I see that predicted time of about 20 minutes or less, it feels like we're on the cusp of the end of this thing. And that's when I want to start making my way forward, putting myself in contention, but not showing any of my moves too soon. I think that might be the weakness of drivers like Beckner or JT Poole, showing their moves too soon, maybe practicing that run to the front too many times that people can get a good read on what their plan is at the end of this race. Drivers like Scioli, maybe David Weishart, Garrett Grant, they're quietly lingering back there, and they could show a force late in the going that no one's seen just yet.
And you talk about it, they're showing their move, that the tandem on the third lane. Well, that third lane is, you're very unlikely to get that lane be available in the last few laps. So if they get into a scenario where they have to go back to the front and try to use that tandem, they're not going to have a lane to do that in. So it's great that you know how to do it, but you need to be able to be in the position to be able to use it. JT Poole, speaking of him, he's back down pit lane. So maybe it looks like a stop and go there. So his race most likely done. Dawson Miller is still in the pack and would be in line for the lucky dog. He'll need a lot of help.
Down the back straightaway. Therian and Elwood continue to lead now. Ryan Swan, there's a truck we didn't mention yet tonight. Just quietly lingering. Well, and blinking.
21st in points, but he's close enough to where a win could vault him top 20. So still a big race for him as well. We haven't seen him at the front much all race until now. So it's a very important timing for him to get to the front now. It's only 3 drivers on that top lane that's going to help them get to the front, and he's going to get a pretty important lap lead.
Logan Hartman gives a shove to the 61 of Stafford. Bronson Stafford is going to power his way to the outside. Has not yet led a lap tonight. He might get a taste of the lead this time down the back straightaway.
I'm almost starting to think that the fuel is closer than what we think. We have not seen it get single file like this all night long, and now the entire field, minus Logan Hartman, unfortunate for him, entire field single file all the way back to Mason Kane in 22nd.
Yeah, definitely not perfect fuel scenario here. Could be a big save. I don't know if that we'd planned another stop just yet, but definitely drivers trying to make that number work. It's hard to save fuel at Talladega, especially if you're anywhere near the front. If you're kind of mid-pack and kind of just getting towed along, you can kind of save a little bit here and there, but this is a track where you're flat out all the way around in clean and open air. It's not like you've got opportunities to short shift, to lift, to just kind of coast around. It's not something that is conducive to this draft track racing.
You can tell how much savings going on right now. The only way you can save when you're in a line is just not be full throttle. And you can tell how off the throttle everyone is, because Logan Hartman's passing on his own. He is that car is going to pass tech. He's not that fast, so you can tell that everyone's in a bad fuel window right now. So really, you turn your attention to the guys who topped off, and there were not too many of them.
I don't know how much a difference a lap and a half of yellow would have made in that calculation, but look at the lap times here. We backed off almost 2.5 seconds a lap.
Yes, you're going to get those stragglers here and there that decide, I'm
4
not riding
seconds.
anymore. Yeah,
I mean, look how slow. Everyone's driving slow.
At this rate, Dawson Miller leading that line, they might catch back up. Or not Dawson Miller, excuse me, but the Carter Coop, Cameron Hearn, those guys who are good on fuel, they might catch back up to the lead pack.
Yeah, and this is a point of the race where everyone's begging for a yellow. They don't want to do this. They want to go up there and race. So they'd love to see a yellow, but because of the way that they're driving, they're probably not going to get one. So better make that strategy work, because if they keep driving like this, Connor, we might go green with only one yellow to slow this pace of this race down.
For someone with damage, you want this to happen, like Jacob Bell. Jacob Bell's destroyed. He's in 8th place because of this, so definitely working in his favor. As this is something that I've seen happen in Road to Pro, because the lap counts they put in there are very weird, and we got this point of the race where everyone was single file and just not going, and it is not fun from the driver's seat at all. Don't get me wrong. But it's just it was a necessary part of the race. And if we don't get, like you say, we don't get a yellow, we might see this happen. But what I was saying last time by, you're always going to get those stragglers who jump out of line and try to get to the front on their own. I think Tom Bourne was one trying to do that, and he just got back on line in 12th. But he won't be the last of them for sure, as Logan Hartman, can't imagine what he's thinking right now.
Out front, leading laps at Talladega, putting himself in position. He would love this race to go green to the end, provided he can make it on fuel. And while you're leading this line, you have to rabbit and set this pace. Now, he's kind of pulling ahead, right? He's in full control of it. He's basically everyone's fuel strategist right now, because you're going to have to kind of go the pace of the drivers in front to kind of keep pace with only 18 laps to go. So whatever pace Logan Hartman sets, everyone else is going to run, unless he's wildly off that estimation. So it's a big responsibility, but they have really backed it down.
And the big risk you get from this is stack ups, especially into the corner. Everyone's trying to run a set pace. Sooner or later, you're going to see them all kind of accordion back into one another. We saw it last time. I think it was Philip York who almost got into the back of someone. Speaking of that, he's just kind of going to the top to pass people. He doesn't want to be doing this because the stack ups could cause a big wreck, and you could be involved if you're not careful. So those guys who don't want to be a part of it, they're going to jump to the top, and you can see the difference it makes for Philip York, Mason Kane, and I believe that's Dawson Miller. Just that's how big of a difference it is right now.
Coming to 17 laps to go. Going to drag this race out a little longer as well, with the pace slowing up.
Yeah, this is the most un-Talladega-like Talladega race I think I've watched.
I mean, if they couldn't do it,
they wouldn't be trying.
They wouldn't be trying, right? But we've also seen some pretty lofty goals in the past and then watched them miss it. But there is a new iRacing fuel calculator as well. And I'm sure many are using third-party programs, as here comes
Also
96. Or sorry, the 11th slotting in line.
I feel like I'm used to calling him the 96. I guess maybe he changed numbers. I don't remember. But he's lapped down, so he's just trying to position himself to make sure he gets the lucky dog. Although he's not racing anyone for it, so might as well just try to position yourself best you can. Also, I think teammates of Philip York.
Yes. Now, pace picked back up slightly last time by. Let's see what... Oh, no, see, they're slowing it down even further. They are 6 seconds off of their best laps. They are way back down, Connor. This is looking less and less like the strategy that's going to win you this race.
I was half joking, but Carter Coop, Cameron Hearn, Braden Goddard, they're good on fuel. They're going to be about 4 seconds faster this time by. 16 laps to go. They could keep that pace. They're not out of the question right now for the race win.
And you kind of hit the nail on the head there, Connor. We're going to have 15 to go this time by. Assuming that they're maybe oversaving so that they can just kind of open the taps and go to the end straight. Or maybe this is the pace that they have to sustain to make it. But it all comes down to how much you're willing to lift. I mean, Logan Hartman is not getting a run over right now, so there are drivers that are saving even harder than him.
No, if they thought his pace was too slow, he would have been chewed out right now. But
are we seeing bailing on the strategy. Justin Anasogak goes to the outside. He just leapfrogged. See if the 16 will do the same.
Wants track position. They just want track position for this. And now it gets crazy when you see people trying to kind of scam track position out of it. Then you get people weaving out of the middle line and the bottom line. Then it gets dicey as we'll see how much we're going to really see. Oh, look at this.
Boy.
This is going to get ugly. Maybe Mason Kane's just going to go outside of all of it. But now I think you're starting to see drivers kind of pay attention to what they need to do and maybe even pay attention to that second pack. They know Cameron Hearn's good to go. They might not be able to do this and
Could this
win
draw
this race.
yellow as well, Connor? We're 3 wide. That would solve everybody's problems except for those that get wrecked. But easy opportunity to grab some track position here as everyone is just kind of sleeping. But they're going to have to resave unless they just decided to open the taps now. But they didn't save for that long.
Kind of a short, it's weird save stint if everyone thinks they're good, but I think they realize they got to go at this point in some sort of way. Mason Kane was above the cut line. He would really love a win to get momentum going into the playoffs as he rocketed all the way from the back to the front. And Dawson Miller maybe blocking that middle line. Once again, he's a lap down. Beckner's in second. He's found his way back to the front. Now I think it's all out the window.
Yeah, the energy level picked up huge. We gained 2 seconds last time by versus the previous lap. So now the 31 leads the way. Did they give up or are they hit their mark? I know everyone didn't just miraculously hit their fuel window on one lap. Yeah. There's no way. So but either it wasn't as close as we thought or it's not going to happen and they're all just committing to running out.
Yeah, it's like at this point, like if you didn't pick up the pace with everyone there, you would have been left in the dust. You were that much slower.
Faster still this time.
I think you're still going to see some drivers at the back trying to make sure they can make it. You can see Tom Bohr, Bryce Senesac, Scioli. Those guys are just laying back just to be safe. I don't think everyone in this pack is good to go. With the way they were saving hard and then just picked it up, I'd be shocked.
Yeah, I think it was more of a collective realization. They're like, no way. And then just throttled up and went, and everyone picked up on it and looked down and said, yeah. And the more they race like this, the more likely they are to get a yellow. But Connor, we're down to crunch time here. Next time by 12 laps to go. I mean, it is go time.
And there's no way you're going back to single file at this point either. I mean, no, you had it going. Once you get away from it, it's not happening again. So if you're not good on fuel, you better just ride because you're not getting that opportunity to slow the pace down 4 seconds again. And it could have been a scenario where they kind of realized Carter Coop, Cameron Hearn, Braden Goddard, they realized, oh my gosh, they're that much faster. They're going to steamroll us. And they realized, well, we got to pick up the pace, and that might be what's happened. But they were still not that fast that time. 53.4 is mainly from the main pack. Carter Coop crossing the line. We'll see how much faster he is, but they've been in the 52-second bracket, so they're likely about a second faster. At this point, that won't do it, but never know if they might have to slow the pace down again.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that they're wildly off where they would be otherwise in this, what I would consider kind of a disorganized pack, but they are now kind of getting split 3 even lanes, and no one's really pushing. That's how I know that they're not confident, Connor, because no one's being really aggressive right now. They're just kind of riding in this 3x3 formation. But we're running out of ride time here. 11 laps to go at Talladega. And whatever your strategy is, however good you are on fuel, you're just kind of committing at this stage and hoping that you get a yellow flag before the end of this race. But even then, I mean, if it comes too late and you can't save under that yellow before you run out of fuel, then you're going to have to come to pit lane on that caution flag, and then you lose all that track position. So this is a lose, lose, lose.
Yeah, a lot of losing going on here. That I'm just glad it wasn't what it was last night, and we were just able to race. This is not really, I wouldn't say it's not racing, but it's definitely not full-out racing. You've really kind of pinned to the ground as far as what you can and can't do. Especially at this point, you can't really save fuel to stay in the pack. So you want to go to the front. You can't go to the front anymore because all 3 lanes are clogged. You don't really want to be the one to force the 4th lane because that will cause a wreck. So you're really just pinned at this point. You're pinned to the wall. You can't do much of anything right now. Where you are is where you are.
3 wide for 4th place. The 56 of AJ Roderick in position. 10 laps to go from Talladega. 26.6 miles. Playoffs on the line. Championships to be decided. But there's still so much shuffling in this next 10 laps to decide who goes on to compete for that championship this season.
Ryan Swan, one who needs a win. He had the lead, led that lap, but He's going to have no help on the bottom from Mason Kane. Therian drops down. He's looking to go now. As you can see, the pack is still not that fast. Now A.J. Roderick is the leader. He's just racing to kind of play spoiler while Swan Rock gets back to the front.
9 laps to go. Things are counting down. It's getting frisky back here. Some lane changes starting to occur.
At this point, you're just trying to find a momentum and find the fast lane as everyone thinks to go to the bottom. Greg Mitchell goes down there. Roderick's still in the middle. Alan Elwood's creeped his way back to the front. Tom Bourne's up there as well.
Ryan Swan in position.
Whoa. Man, Anna Sogak really cut off Hartman there, but you can still see guys at the very back who might not be safe. Mason Kane, Beckner, Dawson Miller, Senesac. A lot of the guys who are back there are guys who are at the front early in this run.
Through 3 and 4. Shane Therian. What a win this would be for him. It has just not been a great season for him in the trucks. There's a lot of drivers in this group that would love to get one. Bronson Stafford. Josh Taylor in the top 10. A.J. Roderick, what a win would mean for him. He was out early last week. First couple laps of IRP. He's made it to lap 73 of this 80-lapper. And look at Alan Elwood giving a shove to the 56, giving his teammate a push.
Yeah, we had 3 even lanes. Now it seems like everyone's gravitating back to the bottom. There's really only about 8 trucks that are not on the bottom lane now, so I think everyone's realizing they kind of have to back off at this point. Therian checked up the entire line there as it caused a huge stack up on the bottom.
Yeah, big stack up, but everybody navigates it.
Braden Goddard's flipped out of turn number 2 in the second lane.
Whoa. Upside down and slides onto the apron, so we will stay green. What happened here?
That was another caution involving not a big line. He was in the pack with Hearn, JT Poole. Oh, and he got
he kind of washed up just a little bit, but man, that was a huge wreck and just skidded down the back straightaway. That was crazy, but we no more on that because we've got a lead battle, and it is fierce. Josh Taylor from 10th to the lead in the lap. Here he comes on the outside of the number 57, Rick's Hot Sauce truck.
And they're so close between those top 2 lanes, but they don't touch. Carhan's up there, needs points, going to the front when it matters. Swan and Therian on the bottom. I think at this point, everyone in this top 10 is racing whether they can make it or not.
Not much of a choice at this stage. If you run out, so will everyone else.
At least that's what you're hoping.
Yep.
The middle and top lines are getting so close to the point. They're going to start dooring, and then it's over at that point. But you can tell they're not holding back at this point.
Michael Carhan in the top lane, but I'm keeping an eye on his teammate in the bottom, the 2. Third, Ron back in the inside lane. That's a safe place to be if the crash breaks out. You got time to bail. There's trucks ahead of you that will likely not be if the leaders crash. I love where the 2 of Greg Mitchell is right now. Therian, the 97 of Philip York, all those trucks in a good spot, I think, as we come now to 5.5 laps to go down the back straightaway. 3 across and 4 rows deep.
I'm looking at Alan Elwood. He was one of those drivers who got the extra fuel and topped off. We didn't think it would matter much, but with how much these guys have had to save, it might mean something. So he's going to go to the front. Roderick's going to go and block the top lane. That's going to give Elwood free space.
There is no one in the top 10 that is completely locked. You could throw Elwood, obviously, in that conversation, but no blue on the timing and scoring. It is all yellow and white. Drivers that either need to win to get in or need to point their way in.
Or guys playing spoiler.
5 laps to go from Talladega.
I bet a lot of money on this not lasting. I'll just throw it out there and say it. This is getting wild, and you can tell no one's really been bump drafting this entire run. They're gonna have to get back in their groove and try to kind of find their boundaries on how to bump draft, and that could cause a big one.
Big pack of trucks. How many are in this? Basically 20. 2/3 of the field in one group. This reminds me of 2012 fall Talladega. And that one ended in a big crash with basically everybody in it.
And we could easily see that again as the top 20 are going for it. Everyone's weaving. Mason Kane, Jacob
4
Bell.
wide. There goes the 56.
There it is.
Roderick gets turned, and the big one at Talladega.
That was inevitable. Scioli's in it. Not many big hits, but a lot of trucks.
A lot of trucks turned around, and that will save the fuel situation, but we're going to rack them up and go for a green, white, checkered.
It looked like a case of trying to find a hole where there wasn't one. And not surprised, you get 3 lanes stacked up. You know something's going to happen as we look at the SimRap market replay. Looked like it started with Gary Waterworth trying to go 4 wide.
Yeah, had a big run here, just didn't sit on it, chose to go for it. The 56 kind of covered, and the 12 just kind of full steam ahead. That hole was not there.
No, it was not.
And
but
yeah, go ahead.
You have such a big run, you're under 5 to go, you think, I can't lift. That's been a mentality, and that mentality's been growing in NASCAR racing. The can't lift mentality, where I have a run, if I don't have room, the field's gone. And not saying that's what Gary did, but you have a run like that, you don't want to lift. You have to make such a split-second decision. Elwood barely got through another one.
Ryan Swan leading the inside lane, gets cleared out. Watch the hit he takes here on the inside lane. Makes a pretty big hit there. Scioli. And Josh Taylor was running in a great spot. He gets tagged here and gets walloped in the left rear corner. And if the body damage wasn't enough, the suspension damage might to take him out.
Really unfortunate for Swan. He was in a position where he could win his way in. Then with that damage, likely it won't happen. But you go 2 drivers spin like a top here, Taylor and Scioli. Beckner spun, I believe, the 11.
Brad Slaughter, watch this. We're right on board with him here.
He was the one pushing Waterworth.
Didn't really force him into that, but he was the one that kind of gave him the momentum to do so. He gets tagged right here.
Oh.
And behind him, carnage. Now, Alan Elwood also had a pretty good view of this, at least out the tailpipes.
Kind of got beat around there, but kept it straight, which is main reason why he's going to be scored the race leader.
And Shane Therian also had a pretty good perspective. We're right on board with the 83.
Just all comes crashing down. But he's another one who kind of took the hit and just has to weave through it at this point. Look out, James Scioli. He's one who needs a win, and now he restarts second as we're once again in that scenario where it's green-white checkered territory.
It's like Kyle Busch said, I said on the broadcast last night, it doesn't matter where you are because it's going to be a green-white checker. And as we make our way towards the end of this race, race fans, be sure to check out rickshotsauce.com for some of the best hot sauces made locally in South Florida. Try the Loxahatchee Classic, Golden Garlic, Palm Beach Pineapple, or South Beach Heat. Follow the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle in the Area Cup Series and see which driver will take home the $100 prize as the highest finishing rookie in the point standings. And be sure to check out shop.areairacing.com for merchandise to represent your favorite drivers and teams. Shop from our brand new selections of champion t-shirts, jackets, hats, and more. Easier to shop, quicker to ship, better to wear. That's shop.areairacing.com. Oh boy, we are in overtime. It'll be a 2-lap race distance extension. 32 laps on this tank of fuel, Connor. If the leaders didn't want something, it was extra laps.
No, definitely not. And you saw people have to come down and bite the bullet and did pit that last time by. A lot of them having damage. But Greg Mitchell was through it pretty cleanly. He had the pit. Ryan Swan, he could have continued. He pit. Tom Bourne, same thing. So you have drivers there who are betting on people running out, and a lot of drivers, pretty much everyone at the front, betting that they're going to be able to make it, or betting on another caution to end this one.
Well, this is one of those tense moments here where I don't like to drag in drivers and talk with them because I know they're formulating plans and I don't want to interrupt that. I really want to know what the fuel situation is like, though, for these drivers and teams as we go another extra lap. Anybody thinking about it?
I think everyone's thinking about it, but I don't think they have the heart to give up the track position, and I wouldn't either.
5 trucks on the lead lap. So no, you wouldn't want to come down.
Can't. You have no choice but to kind of lay in this bed, whether it gets you the win or not. You kind of have to live with it, as this is going to be about 35 laps on a tank with 1 yellow in between if you can make it. Some guys at the front did top off. Actually, the front row actually maybe the top three or three drivers that topped off. So that might help them a little bit, but we saw how hard everyone was having to save. There might not be much of a difference there.
So re-racking and restacking here for the restart. This will be our final restart. This is going to count as our one and only green-white checkered. So let's remind you of what we talked about at the very top of the show, how things happened last night and how they could be the same tonight. If we were to get a caution flag, all right, let's start with the other way around. If we get to the white flag, we're gonna go green. If we get all the way around and complete that lap and pick up that white flag, doesn't matter. We're coming back to a checkered no matter what. Everyone races back to the start-finish line to complete the race. If the yellow flag comes out before the white flag does, then iRacing scoring stands. No matter what the situation, no matter if you're involved in the crash or not, iRacing scoring is going to place the cars how and when it feels fit and decides to do it. We don't know how it's done, but when that field is frozen, there is a point in time, not synced to the caution lights or anything, that iRacing will freeze the field and that will stand. But to make sure we know who is where, we have to wait for the drivers to come across the finish line on that caution lap regardless. Connor, you picked earlier in the night, I think it was the 26th of JT Poole. He's running a lap down. I'm liking my pick a little better, but he's only 13th place. That was James Scioli. Elwood will lead this back to the green. Any favorites from this front group?
Shane Thieren needs a win to get in. I'd pick him, but there's a number of drivers up here who need a win to get in. Throw points at the window. Thieren's in that situation. Philip York needs to win. Bryce Senesac is in a position where he might need it. It could get wild, but I think Thieren can do it.
Here we go. 2 laps left, and green flag back in the air. Big block there. The 83 did not get going. He tries to cover on the 24 of Curhan. Oh, that was very tight and dicey.
That gets Elwood to the lead. I think Thieren has damage that's hurting him. That's why he didn't get going. Slaughter jumped to the top over Elwood now, and York's going to be the one being the pusher. And Anna Sogak's up there out of nowhere.
Down the back straightaway. Can we get down the backstretch under green? You need to make it through here, through 3 and 4, and back to the stripe for this race to go to the checkers unfiltered.
A run some of these guys have. Mason Kane restarted way in the back in 12th, and he's already kind of up there a little bit as we see a lot of weaving. Senesac and Scioli got to the bottom. There's no top line, really.
Here we go. We got to make it through the tri-oval as well. The 10 of Alan Elwood leads the way. The 29 of Weishart drops to the outside right in front of the 8. We are going to make it. No, we won't. Do we? We will make it to the white. We will stay green. Elwood out of the lead, turned around. We will race to the checkered.
That's big. That spun Philip York. They're wrecking in the back. Never mind. Justin Anna Sogak, like he did in Daytona, is going to rocket to the lead. He's going to get turned.
No, there they go.
And Philip York's going to get turned. Everyone wrecks but Brad Slaughter Jr. Here comes Cameron Hearn. Where did he come from?
We're racing back to the checkers. Everybody crashed. Slaughter trying to defend on the bottom. Here comes Hearn to the outside. To the inside, to the outside again.
Oh, they banged doors for a second. Who's going to get the run? It's going to be a side draft fest of a checkered flag. Cameron Hearn's going to clear him.
Cameron Hearn clears Brad Slaughter, but is it enough? Checkered flag. Cameron Hearn, Mr. Where Did He Come From? He is going to win at Talladega. Brad Slaughter Jr. had the lead, but it went away in the final 2 corners.
Broderick, Scioli, Thieren in the top 5, and the crapshoot on who else crossed the line. Everyone crashed at that point, much like we saw in Daytona for the Pro Series. Absolutely wild finish. Never seen anything quite like that here.
And well played by Cameron Hearn and Brad Slaughter. They raced fair and clean all the way to the end there amongst themselves. Let's go back and have a look at this final lap, all of it, because the crashing started going into turn number 1. Connor, you pointed it out. It was the 10 that got hooked. Here's what happened.
We know Philip York needs a win. He's trying to shove him clear and get to the outside. Maybe too much of a shove, and the bumps in the trail didn't help. Hooks him right there. Elwood can't do anything but watch as his chances at winning goes away.
And then it was Anna Sogak that got a huge surge on the outside lane here with help from Travis Beckner. Had the lead, had the advantage right there. Gets the left rear, gets him loose, wiggles, wobbles, 28 into the 29, and
then Slaughter and York hit. That spun York. And look at how Cameron Hearn got through that. He was 13th as he crossed the line to take the white flag. And then he has to run. Brad Slaughter Jr. is a sitting duck. Tried to block whichever way he could, but the 4 had too much of a run at this point. Big crossover move there to not get blocked, as kind of showed him the door there as he was cleared Slaughter, and it was over from there.
Cameron Hearn, let's watch his onboard. What did he see? There's the crash. I mean, it's over, right? To the inside. Oh, catches Bobby Tinch and through the middle.
Look at that. Oh my gosh. It just played out absolutely perfectly as the entire field went flying in a number of flipping, but he got through there and he didn't lift, and that's what got him to win, the not lifting part of it all. Look at all these junked trucks.
Oh, look at the one almost upside. Did he get upside down? Oh, man.
Weiland almost got through it. He actually crosses the line to finish trying to see 26th, so it's going to be a fortunate end to his playoff chances, I think. But once again, all unofficial. We know Cameron Hearn won. That's about it.
Well, he's been celebrating over here for a while as we were watching the replays there. But Cameron Hearn, wow, what a drive. Let's have a look at our race results here, Connor. And this one, we got to race to the end. And you know, some nights you wonder, you wish that you could have gotten to the end under green. And some nights you're just glad that the caution came out and prevented the last lap pandemonium we always see once we make it to the white. But Hearn, Slaughter, Roderick, James Scioli, Shane Therian, and the rest.
Honestly, you kind of got a mix there. Some drivers who were at the front for majority, some who weren't. Cameron Hearn was at 20 seconds behind the back before the big one happened, and he found his way up to the front, just got through there perfectly. Everything went his way for him to win. Therian 5th. We'll see what that does for him. Travis Beckner, he kind of triggered what happened down the back straightaway, got away with 7th. Tom Bourne, that's why he's second in points. He continues to find a way to get some top 10s, and Jacob Bell recovers for 9th, Curhan 10th.
And looking down the rest of the order here, David Weishart, disappointing 16th after the run he had tonight. And you have to feel for Alan Elwood leading, coming to the white flag, gets turned off the nose of the 97 of Philip York. And there's the list of the rest. Now, we only had 3 drivers listed as out. Goddard crashed kind of on his own, got turned around, but single car accident there. Justin Munsell and Ryan Olsen crashed together, coming to a yellow flag. But pretty frantic end here. Let's talk with A.J. Roderick, who brings his number 56 truck home in 3rd. Once that white flag flies, it is every driver for themselves, A.J., and no different for you. Take us through your last lap and carving your way through the chaos.
That was the most hectic last lap ever. I started that lap 25th and drove. I didn't even lift because I was hoping I was far enough back that people would have scattered, and they did. And I really got lucky.
Tonight, there was a lot of big moves, but we went green for a long time. Take us through that fuel situation, because I think we saw the field slow down 3-4 seconds a lap slower than the pace prior, and then everyone just kind of sped up. So what was going on there? Did you guys hit your number or give up on that strategy altogether?
I'm not sure we actually hit the number we were looking for. I was pretty concerned once I got to the lead that I wasn't going to have enough, but we were watching the one pack had closed within 15 seconds of us or something like that, and we knew that if we kept going at that speed that they were going to catch us.
Well, it was a fun one to watch. Started 20th, finished in 3rd. You were 25th, coming to the white, and 3rd at the end. AJ, thanks for chatting with us. Congrats, and nice job getting through all that mess at the end.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And 2nd place tonight was Brad Slaughter Jr. in the number 8. Brad, wow. Wild last lap. It always is. Anytime we come to these super speedway races. Take us through your last lap, pushing the 29, and all of a sudden all hell breaks loose and cars are spinning everywhere. You look up, you're the leader, and then you're not. Take us through it.
Yeah, man. You know something's gonna happen there at the end on every one of these things, man. And I feel like I keep putting myself in position, man. And oh my gosh. But yeah, that was pretty wild, man. I had some help there from Anna Selgog. I had a ton of damage from that wreck there, so I was kind of a cinder block there until David pulled up in front of me and got me out of the air. And I was able to push him pretty well. Alan got hooked there coming to the line. That was tough, but it really slowed the bottom lane down and gave the top some momentum. And then it looks like they got mixed up there. Travis gave Anna Selgog a bad bump there off of 2. And I looked up and it was just me. And then I looked back, man, and I seen Cameron coming, and as soon as the whole pack cleared out and all those cars were gone, my truck slowed down like 10 miles an hour. I had so much damage. It was like a brick out there. And Cameron had a great run. I don't know how he got through that wreck. I'm sitting here looking at it now. The seas parted absolutely perfectly for him, and he was able to carry the momentum, and he put the shake and bake on me in 3 and 4. There wasn't, again, I don't feel like there was a lot I could do other than, get right in front of him and probably wreck both of us, but it is what it is. It's tough, but, one of these days I'm going to win a Talladega race in the truck series. I've got 2 seconds and 2 thirds now in 4 seasons, so one of these days we're going to win a truck race at Dega, but shout out to all my teammates at DWR, David, Bryce, and James tonight. They did a great job, and Bobby too. We were all in the same game plan. We were all doing a really good job of saving gas there at the end and fitting together and doing all the right stuff and putting ourselves in position. Again, every time you come to one of these tracks, that's all you can do is put yourself in position. So we did everything we needed to do and just came up a little bit short. So,
well,
but playoff time now.
Yeah, playoff time now. Maybe driving like a concrete block, but that got you a rock-solid second place, Brad. Thanks for chatting. We'll see you next week when the playoffs start.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And race winner Cameron Hearn. What a roller coaster of a night. I think sometimes drivers would rather be lucky than good, Cameron. Tonight, both. Started 23rd, fell back as low as 28th. Things were not looking good. And then all of a sudden, smoke, crash, truck's upside down. Through comes Cameron Hearn, passing Brad Slaughter Jr. coming to the checkers. What a frantic last lap. Take us through your night and that run to the checkers.
Yeah, up and down night for sure. Speeding on pit road, went a lap down. Was racing Dawson to be the lucky dog. Saw a little gap, went for it. And kind of a racing deal. They ruled it and stuff. I hate it for him, but I think he ended up getting back on the lead lap. But just sometimes you gotta be lucky. And maybe my unluckiness of being in the back, and got me through that wreck clean. But I hate that. I think I got into Bobby Tinch a little bit when I made the move left to miss what was in front of me and caught him up in that. So hate it for that. But it's the last lap, racing for the win, and I was doing everything I could to get through there and still have a chance at, because I saw no one through the wreck, and I saw Brad heavy damage. Brad could have maybe wrecked us both coming to the line, but he raced me clean, so I appreciate that. But all in all, we got some team drivers for Zekas Motorsports trying to get it on points, so waiting on that finalized. So all in all, a good night, hopefully a good night for the team.
It was a blast to watch, and we're just watching again. You're carved through here. Had to dive out of the way to miss the 31. That's where the contact with the 54 is. I'm not really sure you could have done much more about that, Cameron. So don't let that bother you. But then the run through the very end of this here, that was absolutely wild. That was fun to watch, Cameron. Congratulations. You're a winner again.
I appreciate it. Thank you guys for everything you do. Hey, Mom and Dad, appreciate y'all watching. Yeah, thanks.
Thanks a lot, Cameron. Whoo boy, Connor, wrapping things up from Talladega. It has been a fun week so far. Lots of good racing, and we're not done yet. We still have Thursday in the area Florida State Builders Pro Series race at Talladega to wrap up our regular season for that series, but it has been nuts. We get to do it again on Thursday.
Oh, yeah, it is going to be absolutely wild, and it was absolutely crazy this week. And definitely the truck cut line got crazy. We had 3 winners this season outside the top 12, and Cameron Hearn got the 12th with his second win of the season. So that cut line is going to be crazy. We're going to see our playoff drivers next week, and it is going to be a crazier under the finish. And now we're past Talladega for the truck series. We can focus on the championship favorites. It's going to be hard to beat James Scioli, but Brad Slaughter Jr., Alan Elwood, and Tom Moore, and they've been so consistent this season. Any one of them can win it. It's going to be fun once we go over to next week. It's going to be at Chicagoland. That's one of my favorite tracks. It's going to be fun to watch.
It's going to be a lot of fun to watch, and again, as always, points will be updated on simracerhub.com. I think they probably got to untangle a couple things, but that's going to do it for us tonight and on our Tuesday show. I'm Kyle Heyer alongside Connor Horn. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you on Thursday for the Florida State Builders Pro Series right here from Talladega.